Even popes carry secret wounds. Yes, even the man who sits on the throne of St. Peter, the vicar of Christ, the Holy Father himself, carries a wound no crown can cover. But this wound, was not of scandal, nor politics, nor war. It was far, far deeper. It was the quiet ache of a son, remembering his mother. And when Pope Leo XIV finally broke down, before the cameras, before the cardinals, before the eyes of the world, when the mask fell, the Vatican fell silent. The world paused. No one moved, no one breathed. Even the marble seemed to listen, because what he revealed in that trembling moment shook even the hardest hearts in Rome. A name, long forbidden, a memory, long buried, a secret, hidden in plain sight for decades, locked away in a hollow wall of the Apostolic Palace. And in the center of it all, a woman, a simple woman, a quiet soul, the mother of the Pope, a mother who prayed for him when no one else did, a mother who saw visions the Church would never dare to speak aloud, a mother who vanished from history by someone's command. But why? Why would the Vatican erase the very name of the woman who gave birth to the man who now wears the fisherman's ring? What did she know? What did she see? And why did Pope Leo XIV, after all these years, let her memory slip from his tongue in public, before the world? Did the Holy Spirit move him? Was this moment meant to happen? Or was it a mistake the Curia feared for decades? Stay with me now, as we gently peel back this sacred veil and uncover the untold chapter of the man behind the mitre, the boy who became a priest, the priest who became a pope, and the son who never forgot the quiet woman in Turin whose shadow still guards the Vatican to this day. Her name erased from every book, her face missing from every photograph, but her presence still there, lingering in the halls, in whispered prayers, in the dreams of nuns, and maybe in the heart of the Pope himself. What did she whisper to him as a child? What vision did she share on when the lamps burned low? And why, after a lifetime of silence, did Pope Leo XIV finally speak of her again, with tears in his eyes? The Curia won't talk about it. The cardinals pretend it never happened, but the Swiss guards know, the secretaries know, and now you know. But beware, for this truth will lead you into the deepest chambers of the Vatican's own soul, into visions denied, prophecies hidden, and a mystery that may touch your life more than you think. Because her final letter, found sealed behind stone in the Pope's private study, contains a warning, one the world has never heard. Until now, stay close, do not rush. This is no ordinary story. This is the story that shook the faith of the Pope himself, and maybe it will shake yours. But before we begin this sacred journey together, I ask you gently, brother, sister, if you have ever lost someone who shaped your soul, if you've ever felt the ache of their absence, the warmth of their memory, the whisper of their voice in your dreams, type light in the comments. Let their memory burn bright once more, and subscribe to this channel, Pope Leo XIV Truth, so that you remain with us as we gently unfold the secrets the Vatican still fears to reveal. For some truths are waiting for the ready. And today, that ready one may be you. Pope Leo XIV's humble beginnings began in Turin, not in palaces, nor in courts of power, but in the shadow of the old Carmine district, where fog clings to cobblestone and the bells ring for no one. His mother, Maria di Benedetta, a quiet woman, a name you will not find in the Vatican's official biographies, a name removed, erased, gently forgotten, as if she never walked the streets of Italy at all, but she did. She was real, flesh and bone, a seamstress of sacred things, a maker of veils, rosary pouches, scapular cords for the Third Order Carmelites. Yes, the Carmelites. But not the cloistered nuns of Siena or the well-documented convents of Avila. No, she belonged to an obscure, hidden lay Carmelite circle, unaffiliated, unrecognized, and deeply distrusted by Rome. A prayer group that gathered by candlelight beneath the old stone church of San Carlo. Women who spoke in quiet Latin, women who claimed visions, women who were warned. But Maria di Benedetta stayed. She prayed, she dreamed, and she wrote letters, visions, warnings, carefully folded, sealed with wax, sent to someone only known as LS. The initials appear again and again. But who was LS? A bishop? A secret Carmelite father? No one knows. Or if someone does, they are silent still. And then, the letters stopped. In 1993, long after her death, those letters, stored in the minor archives of the Archdiocese of Turin, vanished, burned. By whose hand? The records only say, disposition ordered by Rome, confidential archivum secretum. No cardinal signed it, no nuncio stamped it, only the initials RS remain, written in haste at the bottom of the final ledger. But who is RS? Another ghost, another silence, and the photographs, all gone. The only known portrait of Maria di Benedetta, taken in 1965, when her son entered the seminary, vanished from the diocesan records. The frame remains empty, a soft mark on the wall where her face once hung. Why? Why would the church strip away every trace of a pope's mother, a woman of no political ties, no scandal, no crime, unless what she saw, what she dreamed, what she wrote, was too dangerous to leave behind? And here, the whispers begin. Some say Maria di Benedetta spoke of the Black Dawn, a vision of the Vatican itself, veiled in ash, the cross toppled, the fisherman's ring broken. A vision never approved by Rome, a warning, silenced, but not silenced in her son's heart. For Pope Leo XIV has never forgotten. He never speaks her name from the chair of Peter, but alone, in his private chapel, beneath the flickering oil lamp, he whispers her name, Maria. And when the tears broke from his eyes that day, Pentecost 2024, it was not for the church, not for the cardinals, not for the world. It was for her, for the woman whose shadow still lingers in his dreams, for the mother who shaped the man, who became the Pope, and the world. The world only caught the edge of that secret. A slip of the tongue, a tremble in the voice. The veil of the unspoken rosary, he murmured, and fell silent. A phrase never uttered by any pontiff before. What did it mean? A secret Carmelite prayer? A forbidden prophecy? Or the final fragment of his mother's lost visions? No one at the Vatican could explain. The Swiss guards shifted nervously, the curia exchanged glances, and the cameras went black. But not before the world saw, not before the faithful whispered. And now, you know. You, watching from your home, feeling that strange chill down the spine, wondering what truth did she carry? What danger did she see? Why was her name scrubbed from history, yet carved in her son's heart forever? Is this why Leo XIV never smiles long? Why his eyes carry the weight of sorrow at every public mass? Because he knows, because he remembers, and because, perhaps, he fears. Fears that her final warning was not for the Vatican, but for you. Yes, you. For when the fourth secret is spoken, if ever, the world may learn what Maria di Benedetta saw in her midnight visions. A warning. For the East, for the false shepherd, for the time of the broken cross. We do not know, not yet. But the veil is thinning, and her son, the Pope, can no longer keep the silence. Stay with us. For in the quiet of these secrets, the Spirit stirs, and the truth waits for the ready. But before we go deeper, before the forbidden letters are revealed, before the hollow wall in the Apostolic Palace is opened, I ask you, friend, if you have ever known the ache of a lost mother, if you have ever felt the whisper of someone long gone, still watching over you, type light in the comments below. Let her memory burn bright again. But who was Maria di Benedetta, really? Some say she was just a simple woman, a seamstress, a mother. A face lost among the millions of nameless faithful women who light candles in empty chapels when no one watches. But not in Turin, not in that old quarter near the Carmine Gate. For there, in the dust and dim of narrow streets, they whispered about her. The woman who dreamed of fire, the woman who heard the child of the East, the woman who saw the black veil over the Vatican dome. Dreams, visions, madness, or prophecy. Even her son, the young boy who would become Leo XIV, remembered waking to find his mother kneeling, silent, before the cracked window, staring into the night, whispering strange prayers he could not understand. Mulier ex oriente, coronam feriam. Latin, ancient, not the soft Italian of their house, but something older, something forgotten. He would ask her, "Mama, who are you speaking to?" And she would only smile and press the small wooden crucifix against his chest. "Stay small, little Pietro, the great ones fall." What did she mean? He did not know. Not then. Not when he left Turin for seminary. Not when he stood trembling before his first altar. Not even when he placed the fisherman's ring upon his hand as the world called him Pope. Only later. Only when the dreams came. The same dreams his mother once whispered about. Dreams of the dome, cracked, of the cross, shattered, of the fisherman's net, torn, and the sound, always the sound, of weeping. A woman's weeping, not his mother's, not the Virgin's, but someone else, a church, crying. And so when he broke down that Pentecost evening, before the world, it was not merely grief, it was terror, because the vision she saw, the words she whispered, were coming true. But the Vatican will never tell you this. They will say he was tired, overworked, a moment of human weakness. But what pope weeps in the middle of Mass for no reason? What man of such iron discipline falters in full view of the cardinals? No, this was no ordinary sorrow. This was the return of a prophecy long buried. Because behind the marble walls of the Apostolic Palace, behind the locked doors of the Archivum Secretum, there lies more letters, more warnings, more silence. A chamber sealed in 1974, opened only once since then, when Pope Leo XIV, still a young bishop, demanded to see what his mother had left behind. What he found is still forbidden to speak. But whispers escape, always they escape. A sealed envelope, a name unknown to history, a date circled in red and scrawled in his mother's frail, trembling hand. One final line: "Quando il ferro toccherà la croce, il silenzio finirà." When iron touches the cross, the silence will end. What does it mean? A weapon, a war, an Eastern crown rising against the Church? No one knows, not fully, but Leo XIV does, and the tears that fell from his eyes that day told the world. He remembers, and he fears what his mother saw, may be closer than we think. And so, the Vatican hides, the Curia waits, the secret chambers remain locked. But for how long? For truth, no matter how long buried, rises, just as Christ rose. And you, dear watcher, you have heard what few dare whisper. You know the name erased from the archives. You know the visions the Church fears. You know the secret that brought tears to the eyes of a pope. But the final warning, the last prophecy, that remains hidden. In our next journey, we may come closer. We may uncover the fourth secret, the one that was never spoken at Fatima, the one connected to Maria di Benedetta, the one that could shake the world. But there is more, much more. You see, this is not simply the story of a pope and his mother. No, it is the story of a mother who carried a secret meant not only for her son, but perhaps for the whole Church, for the whole world. Why else would the Vatican move so swiftly, so carefully, to erase her, to burn her letters, to remove her photograph from the archives, to scrub her name from every official record? Why else would the bishops whisper of the woman of the Iron Crown, a phrase forbidden in the halls of the Curia? Even now, Certain old priests in Turin lower their voices when they speak of her. They say she dreamed of a stranger, a man from the east, wearing an iron crown, not gold, not silver, but iron, a crown of suffering, a false king. They say she spoke of him often in the final years before her quiet death. Il pastore straniero, il distruttore delle chiavi, the foreign shepherd, the destroyer of the keys. What does that mean? Is this why Leo XIV grew pale that day in Pentecost Mass? Is this why the Swiss guards closed the chapel doors to the public without explanation? They said he was unwell, exhausted, perhaps overcome with emotion. But those who were there, those who stood closest to the altar, they know better. They saw the Pope's hands tremble. They heard the words fall from his lips, words not meant for public ears. Mamma, perché adesso? Mother, why now? And they saw the tear, a single tear, falling onto the marble floor, where it left a faint mark. Some say the marble remains stained. Some say it will not clean. A sign? Perhaps. But that's not all. Later that night, long after the Mass, after the cameras were packed away, a priest tending the inner chapel claimed to hear footsteps, soft, barefoot, like a woman walking slowly across stone. But no one was there. No sister, no servant, no visitor. Only the faint scent of rose oil and a folded cloth left on the altar rail. A veil, a woman's veil. No one could explain how it arrived there. The cloth was ancient, hand-stitched, embroidered with a Carmelite cross, and the faded initials, M.B. Maria di Benedetta. Impossible? Perhaps. Or perhaps the Spirit allows what the Vatican fears. For truth, real truth, will not be buried forever. And as Pope Leo XIV knelt in the private chapel that very night, alone before the darkened crucifix, witnesses say they heard him whisper, "Soon, they will know, soon, the veil will be torn." What veil? The veil between heaven and earth? The veil between past and present? Or the veil of secrets, the long hidden warnings his mother saw in the quiet streets of Turin? We do not know, but he knows. And now, you know too. And this is why the Curia fears. For if the people knew, if the world heard the full prophecy of Maria di Benedetta, what then? Panic, schism, faith rekindled, or broken forever? This is why the letters were burned. This is why the records were sealed. This is why her name was buried, but not in him, not in her son. For the Pope who wept before the world that Pentecost night was not mourning alone. He was mourning for all of us, mourning for the warning he cannot speak, for the danger he cannot name, for the time that draws closer with every quiet day beneath the dome of St. Peter, a time of decision, a time of revelation, a time when the silence of Rome must end. But that time is not yet. No, not yet, for the veil has only begun to tremble, and you are among the few who have heard its rustling. But this is only the beginning. There is more, much more. Behind the sealed doors of the Archivum Secretum, in the hollow walls of the Apostolic Palace, in the forgotten writings of Maria di Benedetta herself, there lies the fourth secret, not Fatima, not La Salette, something else, something worse, something greater, a prophecy meant for this generation. And soon, my brother, my sister, we will speak of it. But not now, for now, you must ponder what you have heard. Let it burn in your thoughts. And if you feel, as he did, the weight of this hidden truth, the presence of the Spirit whispering behind the veil, but you must wonder, why now? Why, after all these silent years, would Pope Leo XIV break down? Why would the most guarded man in Christendom, the man upon whom the weight of the cross itself seems to rest, let the mask slip? The answer may lie in the dreams. Yes, the dreams. The ones his mother first spoke of, whispered in hushed breath as her hands trembled on worn beads, decades ago in Turin. The ones she feared, the ones the Vatican refused to record. There is a name spoken only in those dreams, a name that never reached the pages of prophecy, a name that Pope Leo XIV himself, as a boy, overheard when his mother thought he slept beside the small kitchen hearth. Anelmo Duarte, a name unknown to any saint, a name absent from Vatican registries, a name that should mean nothing, and yet means everything. For this name, this whisper in the dark, appeared again, years later, when Leo XIV knelt in the chapel of the Holy Spirit as a young seminarian. He heard it, softly, echoing from the frescoed ceiling. Anelmo Duarte. Impossible. No one else heard it. But there it was, a name, wrapped in gold dust, scrawled in the margins of an old missal, visible only for a moment, then gone. What does it mean? Is this the man of the Iron Crown? The stranger from the East foretold by Maria di Benedetta? Or is it the key to the lost prophecy, never spoken, never revealed, hidden behind the hollow walls of the Apostolic Palace? The walls themselves have secrets. Yes, behind the fresco of St. Michael in the Pope's private study, there is a hollow space, an accidental discovery made by workmen in 2022. A space sealed with mortar not from this century, but older, cracked, crumbling. Inside, a bundle, wrapped in dark cloth. Inside that cloth, a letter, written by Maria di Benedetta, untouched by time. The ink faded, but the words clear. Il giorno verrà, il pastore straniero busserà. Quando il ferro toccherà la croce, la bocca di Roma si aprirà. The day will come, the foreign shepherd will knock. When iron touches the cross, the mouth of Rome will open. A warning, but for what? An invasion? A betrayal? A false pope? No one knows, except him. Pope Leo XIV has read this letter, and since that day, his gaze has grown heavier, his sermons shorter, his silences longer. And now you understand why he wept. Why that Pentecost Sunday, when the bells rang for Mass, he faltered. Why his hand trembled on the book of the Gospels. Because he knows the time is near, the knocking is close. And Rome, once the silent mouth, may soon be forced to speak. The cardinals know, the Swiss Guard fears. Even the nuns whisper of it, the fourth secret, the forgotten prophecy, the words that were never meant to reach the world. But you have heard them now. You are no longer blind. And if you feel that same stirring, that strange weight in your chest, the breath of the Spirit that moves when hidden truths draw near, type light in the comments below. Let the world know you are among the watchful. Let the shadows see that not all sleep. And subscribe to Pope Leo XIV Truth so you do not miss what must come next. For soon, very soon, we will speak of Anelmo Duarte. We will uncover what the Iron Crown means. And perhaps we will face the prophecy that made the Pope weep. Stay close. For the veil between what is hidden and what is revealed is thinner than it has ever been. The story is not yet done. You see, the hollow wall in the Apostolic Palace, where that bundle of letters was found, was not the only secret space. There is another, a chamber below, older than the Vatican itself, older than the tomb of St. Peter, the cave of the shepherd, spoken of only in whispers among the oldest of the Swiss Guard. A place sealed since the days of Pope Pius V, a place where prophecy and terror sleep. And when the restorers broke the hollow wall, when the scroll of Maria di Benedetta was recovered, a key fell loose, a rusted iron key, carved with a single word, Aurora, dawn. But dawn of what? A new beginning for the Church? Or the black dawn his mother dreamed, the fall of the fisherman's ring, and the rise of the Iron Crown? The key was taken at once, locked away, no word spoken, but a leak. Yes, a leak reached the outside. A scribe from the Vatican Library, unnamed, unknown, sent a message to a single journalist. It read, "The key of dawn will turn before the year ends. Prepare. The silence breaks." And that date is soon. Pope Leo XIV knows this. Every day he walks the halls, slower, quieter. His staff notice, the guards watch, for he holds the key now, and the decision, when to open that ancient chamber, when to speak the final prophecy, rests on his shoulders alone. But will he dare? Will the last secret of Maria di Benedetta finally be spoken? Or will he die, like so many popes before him, carrying the burden to the grave? And what will it mean for us, for the Church, for the world, if that door opens? You must wonder, why these secrets come now? Why, after all these years, the veil begins to lift? Perhaps because the time is short. Perhaps because her vision was true. Perhaps because the Church must prepare. For the stranger with the iron crown may already walk among us, unknown, unseen, but felt. Even now, stay awake, brother. Stay watchful, sister. The prophecy may unfold before your eyes. The veil of the unspoken rosary may tear at last. And when it does, the Vatican will never be the same, neither will the world. But this is only part of the truth. For the greatest secret, the fourth secret, the hidden letter of Maria di Benedetta, the warning for Rome, has yet to be fully revealed, and you will hear it. But not now, not yet. The story is still unfolding. And if you would walk this path with us, if you would be among those who know when the veil lifts,